Good morning, class. So today we're going to discuss about designing the thesis manuscript. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our session on designing your thesis manuscript. Think of your thesis as a meticulously constructed building. Each chapter is a vital pillar supporting the entire structure and ensuring its integrity. Today, we'll explore these essential pillars, chapters 1 through 5, understanding their purpose, how they interconnect, and how to build them strong. Our goal is to equip you with the knowledge to construct a coherent, well-argued, and impactful thesis. Chapter 1, the introduction, is your thesis foundation. This is where you lay out the essential groundwork. You'll introduce your research problem, the gap in knowledge, or the issue you aim to address. You'll justify why this problem is significant, who it affects, and why your study is necessary. This chapter also sets the boundaries of your research, its scope and limitations. Think of it as introducing yourself and your project to the reader. Within Chapter 1, several key elements are crucial. First, the background of the study provides the context, drawing readers into the topic. Then the statement of the problem clearly identifies the issue you're investigating. Your objectives of the study outline your specific goals. The scope and the limitation define what your research will and will not cover, which is vital for focus. Finally, the significance of the study explains why your research matters to academics, practitioners, or society at large. Chapter 2 is the review of the related literature, is where you build the intellectual framework of your thesis. You'll engage with existing research, theories, and concepts relevant to your topic. This is not just about summarizing, it's about critically analyzing, synthesizing, and identifying gaps or areas for further exploration. Think of this as conversing with established scholars in your field. In Chapter 2, we delve into the theoretical framework, which provides the foundational theories that underpin your research. The conceptual framework is often a visual representation of these theories and how your variables or concepts relate. Synthesizing studies involves weaving together the findings of various research to build a cohesive understanding. Importantly, defining key terms ensures that your readers understand the specific language and concepts you are using. One of the most impactful elements of Chapter 2, the conceptual framework. This is your opportunity to visually map out the relationships between your key variables or concepts. Think of it as a roadmap for your research. It could be an IVDV or independent variable, dependent variable model, a process model, or something else entirely, depending on your research design. A well-crafted conceptual framework clarifies your thinking and guides your reader. Synthesizing literature is a critical skill. Instead of just listing what each study found, aim to group studies by common themes, methodologies, or theoretical perspectives. Look for patterns in their findings. Note any contradictions or debates within the literature. And most importantly, identify the gaps that your own research will fill. This demonstrates your critical engagement with the existing body of knowledge. Chapter 3, the methodology, is your research blueprint. This is where you meticulously detail the how of your study. It explains the specific research design you will employ, how you will collect your data, how your participants will be, and how you will analyze the information gathered. This chapter is crucial for demonstrating the feasibility and scientific soundness of your research. A fundamental aspect of Chapter 3 is outlining your research design. We'll differentiate between three major approaches: qualitative research, which focuses on in-depth understanding and meaning; quantitative research, which uses numerical data to test theories and relationships, and mixed methods research, which strategically combines both qualitative and quantitative approaches for a more comprehensive understanding. Within the methodology chapter, several key components need clear explanation. Your research design dictates the overall structure. Data collection methods detail the specific tools and techniques you'll use, like interviews, surveys, or experiments. Sampling procedures explain how you'll select participants. Data analysis procedures outline your plan for processing and interpreting the data. Finally, ethical considerations are paramount, detailing how you'll protect your participants and ensure responsible research. Choosing the right research design is critical. Your research problem and questions should guide this decision. If you aim to explore experiences and meanings, a qualitative design might be best. If you want to test the hypothesis and establish relationships, a quantitative design is suitable. If you need both breadth and depth, a mixed method design could be ideal. Remember to consider the practicalities and ethical implications of each design. Chapter 4 is where you reveal what you discovered. This chapter involves presenting your research findings clearly and objectively. You will then interpret these findings, explaining what they mean in the context of your research questions and hypotheses. Critically, you'll also connect your results back to the existing literature and theoretical frameworks discussed in Chapter 2 and 3, showing how your study contributes to the field. In presenting your results, objectivity is key. This involves clearly reporting the data you collected. For quantitative studies, this often means using tables and figures to display statistical information. For qualitative studies, it involves rich, descriptive narratives, often supported by verbatim quotes from participants. Ensure your presentation is logical, easy to follow, and directly addresses your research questions. Interpretation is where you move beyond simply presenting data to explaining its meaning. What do your findings tell us? How do they answer your questions or support or refute your hypothesis? This is also where you link back to your literature review and theoretical framework. Does data confirm existing theories? Does it challenge them? Does it fill identified gaps? This linkage is crucial for demonstrating the contribution of your research. Be mindful of common pitfalls in this chapter. A frequent mistake is to blend results and interpretation too much. Present the findings first, then discuss their meaning. Avoid introducing new literature here that belongs in Chapter 2. Ensure there's a clear and direct link between your findings and your initial research questions. Finally, be cautious about overgeneralizing your findings. Always ground your conclusions in your data and the scope of your study. Chapter 5 brings your thesis to a close. It's where you synthesize your journey. You'll summarize the main findings from Chapter 4, draw clear conclusions based on your evidence, and offer recommendations for practice, policy, or future research. This chapter should leave the reader with a strong understanding of your study's impact and its place in the broader academic conversation. In Chapter 5, start with a concise summary of findings, reiterating the most important results from Chapter 4. Based on these findings, draw clear conclusions about your research questions and problem. Finally, provide recommendations. This could be for practitioners in the field, policymakers, or suggestions for future research that builds upon your work. Ensure your recommendations are directly supported by your findings. Formulating conclusions. Remember, they must directly answer your research questions. Each conclusion should be grounded in the data and analysis presented in Chapter 4. This is not the place to introduce new interpretations or information that wasn't previously discussed. Focus on the so what of your findings and what they ultimately mean in relation to your initial problem and objectives. Designing your thesis manuscript effectively isn't just about completing a degree requirement. It's about preparing for scholarly publication. A well-structured thesis with clear arguments in each chapter provides the essential framework for journal articles or conference presentations. By mastering the design principles we have discussed today, you're not only building a strong thesis, but also honing your academic writing skills for the future. Okay, so let's open the floor for discussion. What aspects of thesis design do you find most challenging? How has understanding the structure and purpose of each chapter, following frameworks like Creswell's, influenced your approach to planning your own thesis? Finally, I'd love for each of you to share one key takeaway from today's session that you plan to implement in your thesis work. Thank you for listening, class. We'll see each other face to face.